Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind Podcast. Today's podcast episode number 291. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Book Insight Friday. You guys know I always get creative in my writing journey and what I share and what I talk about because I'm not going to sit and talk about books every single week. But I am getting better at sharing books that I'm reading. Anyway, today I want to talk about how I went about writing in a prose format in regards to my books and standing out. So when I decided to start writing books, which was many years ago, I knew that I wanted to write them in a prose format. I've always been different in how I do things in my life. It's something people have told me a lot, and something that that I feel like carving my own path is what I need to do, and I'm proud of myself for being different. My writing in a prose format, it still tells the story, it brings out characters, but causes people to get mad because it's not structured a certain way. The traditional ways of reading books have changed significantly over the past decade. And writers and authors are writing their books in ways that make them comfortable. And with there being so many rules to writing, there's no sense of originality, creativity, and being comfortable in creating projects that are different from others. Standing out was important to me. And I wanted to be someone who saw my books, looked inside, and still decided to, buy one book. That's, when I started to feel good. The beauty of writing is to enjoy it and be fulfilled and know that what you're doing and where you're going with things, it's going to be different. It's definitely going to be a different road, and it's going to be the road less traveled. That's just pretty much the gist of your writing journey if you really think about it. And I've been publishing books for a few years, and while I haven't really taken off yet, I know that I'll get to where I'm supposed to be in life. Now, my goals with my stories, it's to be different, unique, tell powerful, important stories, and start conversations on what's really going on in the world. We can no longer turn a blind eye to all of the madness and atrocities that's going on around us. And it's about awareness, being more engaging and caring about things pretty much on an everyday basis, not necessarily when we feel like it. And I think what's happening in this world is we look at things, we watch the news, we go, oh, so sad, so unfortunate. And we don't really immerse ourselves into saying, all right, well, what's going on here with crime, and why are there so many people that are homeless, and what are we doing in regards to people who have mental health issues, and why are women always walking around feeling unsafe in their own neighborhoods and places that they're in, and why do women feel like they have to have someone walking with them when they're going home to their own homes in their own neighborhoods to feel safe, and why is domestic violence so prevalent among women, but not among men? Men deal with being abused and hit and ostracized and all that. It's not talked about enough, but it happens, right? And why aren't we talking about what people go through as far as drug addictions and alcohol addictions, and what's going on with the chemical imbalance in their brains that causes them to go through that process of becoming addicted to drugs? And these are all the things, right, that we need to sit and ask ourselves. So for me, writing in a prose format doesn't really change the story and how it's told. It's just, I learned that, pretty much when you go on your own path and you go on your own journey, it becomes fun. And I know that people will pick up my books and read and go, oh, this is not normal how this is written. and this is not structured right. I've gotten reviews where it's like, it's so structurally bad. It's like, no, it's not structurally bad. It's you don't know how to read in that format. That's the reality of it. I'm not trying to knock or bash people, but I'm going to tell you right now, like, the book that I will be talking about next week, it's written in a totally different way. And it doesn't take away from this author's story and her journey and how she grew up and what she's become and the successes and, you know, the failures and getting married and having kids and, you know, trying to change the way this world is viewed and the narratives and all that stuff, right? The book was beautifully written if you really take the time to absorb what's being told to you in the message. So that's why writing in a prose format was very important to me. Everyone will look and go, oh, okay, that's different. Let's look into it. And maybe I'm someone who will inspire others to write in the same format that I'm writing in down the road, because that's what they feel good with and that's what they feel comfortable in doing. It's not a bad thing to be different. I just want to let all of you know that. It's not bad that you want to start something that someone else has not done yet and be different and stand out and garner attention, and people want to ask you about your story and who you are and what you're about, right? And writing in a prose format means that I'm not writing characters with a certain dialogue. It's just that specific character telling their story from their perspective, and it's written in a way where you will get a feel and a good understanding of, you know, this specific character, who they are, what they're about, and you learn about them very early on through their thoughts and their mindsets and where they're coming from their perspective. That's the goal. It's just as simple as it gets. I don't really complicate things, I simplify things. I want my books to be conversation discussions, not just among family and among friends, but in communities all over this world. And a lot of the content that I've written is very uncomfortable. But we have to learn to be comfortable in being uncomfortable. I'll repeat that. We have to learn how to be comfortable in being uncomfortable. We're too busy coloring in the lines like we're in kindergarten when we need to color outside of the lines. We need to think outside the box. We don't need to be confined to being inside of the box. That's the problem. We all walk around with tunnel vision, but we don't have peripheral vision. When you have peripheral vision, you see things from a whole different perspective. So writing in a certain format helps me to have peripheral vision instead of tunnel vision. That's the basis of what I'm trying to get at. I want you all to know that, you know, the way I've gone about things, the way I do things, it's definitely different than what everyone else has done. And I always feel that in about 5 to 7 years, give or take, a lot of what I've done or have been doing is gonna start becoming the trend. And I may get some big old article written for some like major magazine or some newspaper, maybe like the Times or the Washington Post or the LA Times or whatever other, the Boston Herald. The Boston Herald, is that right? I'm not sure. But yeah, whatever big newspaper you read, and it's like, oh, we've got Jamel Crothers, and he's writing in a prose format, and he's got all these books on social issues, and he has a podcast, and he talks about motivation and inspiration, things on his mind, and, you know, he talks about books he's read and books that he's written, right? Because how many authors are sharing what goes into writing about certain characters and how they create their books and why, and all of these things that readers sometimes do wonder. Like, everyone sits and wonders how music gets made, and now music artists go behind the scenes, they share little clips. Now you have social media and all the presence. Why not authors, right? Why not content creators? Why not artists? See? So for me, this is a longevity and legacy thing. It's opening doors for other people to do things in a more creative, succinct way, and to also enjoy the process and the journey. So that's my story. It's why I've gone into writing in a prose format. I'm not going to change it. And it's who I am. And it's how it works for me. And it's why I'm so comfortable in sharing this. All right, guys. That's my podcast for today. I thank you for listening as always. Have a good weekend. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.